Alright, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to The King's Speech. So like I promised yesterday, I got to the Shonen Jump review videos today, or reaction review videos today. So Kane Banashi and Spy Family are both loading right now. So as promised, we're going to get to the next two volumes of Yona of the Dawn today. A couple of quick things before we get into that. Like I mentioned yesterday, if my voice seems off, I'm still fighting off a cold since the past week or so. So apologize if my voice sounds a little bit off and stuffed, but that is what it is. Hopefully shouldn't be too distracting or bad, but I'm going to try to limit any shouting or stuff like that, so I don't aggravate it any more than that. Like I've also mentioned a couple of my other videos as well. If you haven't already, please do consider commenting, subscribing on my videos, because it really helps me with YouTube's algorithm. When you push those buttons, because it sends out those happy little endorphins that tell it that my videos are worth promoting, which helps me, reach a wider audience, which kind of helps me out as a creator. So if you'd like to help me do that as well, that would be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let us dive into it with Yona of the Dawn, Volume 25, with story and art by Mizuho Kusanagi. I love the little cover page on this being a Huck sandwich. As Munduk and Huck's younger brother, who I cannot remember the name of for the life of me, are just both giving him a hug. We start off with chapter 141, Authority, where Yona and Suwon are finally coming face to face again. And Judo's like, "Your Majesty, what's the..." And then he spots Yona nearby. And you have the two soldiers going, "King Suwon, is this really Princess Yona?" It's like, "But King Il was..." And Keisha goes, "Stand down, return to your formation." And Suwon's kind of taken aback by seeing her here. He's like, "Yona? I never imagined she'd come all the way here. If she's here, where's Huck?" And Yona goes, "This is Algira. He follows Princess Tao. Huck's not here, it's just me." And you see that Suwon's surprised by this, as he goes, "I was told that her friends were captured by Shing. Does that include Huck? Without him, she's risking her life by coming here to prevent a war." And Yona goes, "Suwon, I need to speak with you." And he goes, "You already heard my answer. There's nothing more to discuss." And I think is that Judo or Keishuk? Looks like Keishuk going, "Did His Majesty just learn that Princess Yona's still alive? Or did he already know?" And you see the soldiers start muttering, like, "What is this? It can't be." And you hear, "Wait! Suppressing Shing by force won't stop the cycle of hatred. Princess Corrin wishes to settle this with war. Princess Corrin loves her people. I doubt she wants to sacrifice them." And Algira goes, "Princess Tao said she wants to speak to you. If you guarantee the safety of her people, she would be content to have Shing become subject to Koka." And Suwon's like, "I don't wish for that to happen." And Yona's like, "Princess Corrin is heir to the throne. As long as she rules, war is inevitable." And Yona's like, "Do you know what Uncle Yuhan did to Shing 17 years ago?" And he goes, Do you mean how he tossed prisoners' heads at Shing's palace gates? That sort of thing happens in war." And Yona's like, "Are you saying you condone that behavior?" And he goes, "Depending on the circumstances." She goes, "I see. Well, now I understand why Uncle Yuhan could have become king." You can see, just calculating, watching Suwon, who kind of gets a little bit peeved by that remark. And Yona's like, that finally got a reaction from him. And Keisha goes, "My king, the troops are growing restless. We should keep moving." And he's like, "Wait, why are you in such a rush? Let's have a chat, Suwon. We haven't had a real conversation since the day everything changed." And he's like, "Why am I just staring at her in silence? She has no cards left to play. I don't have time to waste here. So why can't I move?" And I think he thinks back to King Il telling him she's an incarnation of the Crimson Dragon King. And he goes, "Actually, there is one thing I've been wondering. Did you do something with the Fire Tribe?" And Yona just keeps staring at him. And you see the silence is enough of an answer. As Keishuk goes, "Someone, take these people into custody." And Suwon's like, "Advisor Keishuk." It's like, "They're Shing's spies." And you see a bunch of soldiers surrounding her and Algira with spears pointed at them. And Suwon's like, stand down. He's like, I understand. I won't kill them with so many witnesses. He goes, do nothing more than restrain them. Or no, so is that, sorry, Suwon's the one saying, do nothing more than restrain them. He's like, Your Majesty. He's like, that isn't enough. The princess has completely changed since leaving the palace. That's all the more true if she was involved with the flare sent up by the fire tribe. The problem isn't that a flare was fired. It's the fact that Princess Yona was able to make the fire tribe act by speaking to them. Why have you left such a dangerous person alive all this time? And he looks over at Judo and goes, the look on your face says you knew about this too. Is that so, General Judo? He's like, why have you? And you hear a, hey, I came to see why the troops have stopped. What are you doing? That's... And you see Riri riding up going, that's my friend you've got there. If you hurt her, I'll make sure you pay for it. And Yona's like, Riri. It's like, Lady Riri? It's like, it's Lady Riri. And you see all the water tribe soldiers starting to like murmur. And Keishuk's like, she's friends with the water tribe chief's daughter? And Suwon's like, Riri. It's like, is there a problem? Am I not permitted to watch my tribe's army march to war? Anyway, stop brandishing weapons at them. Show some manners. Or is the Sky Tribe shameless enough to try to kill Princess Yona even after driving her from the palace? And you see all the soldiers just embarrassed by this as they pull their spears down. And you see Tetra going, Lady Riri, this is foolhardy. And in front of His Majesty, it's like, Princess Yona? It's like, she really is the princess? And Riri's like, from their reactions, I'd say some of the Sky Tribe soldiers were involved in King Eel's assassination. And she goes, Water Tribe soldiers, listen closely. This is Princess Yona who did all she could to free our people from the scourge of Nadai. We owe her nothing less than our lives. I'm sure many of you lost family members to Nadai. Laying a hand on Princess Yona is an insult to their memory. And they're like, Nadai? Princess Yona did that? Is that true, Lady Riri? So we've been so disrespectful. I had no idea she did that. You have our gratitude, Princess Yona. It's like, thank you so much. I'll make sure my whole village knows. And you see Keishuk's gritting his teeth because he now has lost the upper hand. And Riri dashes up to her. He's like, Yona, what are you doing here? She's like, Riri, and they gives her a hug. He's like, thank you. We'll talk later. And she looks over at Suwon and goes, Suwon, allow me to repeat myself. Please settle things with Shing peacefully. And he goes, what makes you think that's even possible? It's like, Princess Corrin and Princess Tao don't want to sacrifice their people. I'm sure that's also true of you. I believe you have no desire for so many people to die. And he goes, very well. I shall hold a summit with Shing. And Keishuk's, Your Majesty. It's like, however, both Princess Corrin and Princess Tao must be present. I will acknowledge their right to self-govern and freedom of ideologies and faiths, provided that they hand over their diplomatic and military freedoms. I believe that Princess Corrin might still strike at us, so this army will keep heading to Shing. It's like, what do you say? I doubt they'll accept these terms. And Yona's like, all right, I'll convey your answer. Lend me a horse. And you see her and Algira taking off as the soldiers continue to keep murmuring. It's like, I heard Princess Yona was kidnapped by a servant and never seen again. But in reality, he's like, shh, be quiet. And you have Riri going, they shouldn't undermine your position, right? I'm aware that I owe a lot to you too, but I don't want you to kill her. She means a great deal to me. And you see on the Shing border with the Wind Tribe camp, it's like, I wonder if the Sky Tribe troops aren't coming anymore. It's like, no one's notified us of that. If they do, that's Teiyu talking. It's like, if they do come, we'll have to defy a royal decree. It's like, that's true. They said we'd have to join the battle when the Sky Tribe troops arrive. It's like, we've still never defied any royal decrees, huh? Since Lord Huck is here, I figure we're already in defiance. And Teiyu's like, we'll defy them as much as we have to protect Lord Huck. And he goes, hey, look over at the Shing side. And you see some ominous-looking guys with some war banners and dark cloaks marching up. And like, who are those guys? And Voldo's like, those are... And you hear, they finally come, And Huck's like, they who? It's like, they're part of the anti-war faction. He's like, oh, friends of yours then? It's like, I wouldn't say that, no. They're mostly aristocrats who support Princess Tao. They must have heard that Princess Corrin brought an army here. They probably came from Kyu Palace to protest the war. And you see a dash as Voldo runs off to intercept their emissary. And he's like, Priest Gobi. He's like, Voldo, I'm glad you could come. It's like, I rushed here when I heard that Princess Tao was being held prisoner by Princess Corin. And Voldo's like, that's correct. Princess Tao is in Princess Corin's mansion right now. And Gobi's like, I see. Princess Tao is a symbol of the anti-war faction, of peace. We must do whatever it takes to get her back. It's like, and who might this be? And Voldo's like, this is Master Huck, a former general of Coca. He's doing all he can to work with Princess Tao to ensure peace between our nations. And he's like, oh, much appreciated. And you see the soldiers murmuring, going, the anti-war faction. It's like, all right, we can stop the pro-war faction's rampage. And with morale as low as it is, we might be able to make Princess Tao's dream a reality. And you see Huck going, they seem very trustworthy. As you see the priest's forces making their way to the camp. And you see Negoro going, what? The anti-war faction has come to Sansan? It's like, that's right. They've gone to the mansion where Princess Corin is staying to demand Princess Tao's freedom. He's like, this is no time for internal conflicts. They've come right to the front lines to mislead people on the eve of the battle. And you see chapter 142, The Gathering Wave. And you hear, Princess Corin, please grant us an audience. We want you to return Princess Tao. We wish for her return. You've kidnapped and restrained Princess Tao, who only desires peace. We do not believe these are acceptable actions for the heir to the throne. Release Princess Tao immediately. It's like, Princess Corin, you see, please calm down, Priest Gobi. He's like, we're about to be at war with Coca. We're keeping Princess Tao here to ensure her safety. No one has treated her roughly. And Gobi's like, lies. You think that you can treat us like this because you're one of the 5 stars? We've heard that Mizari attacked one of our soldiers. The soldiers and the people seem to fear you and Princess Corin, but eventually, God will punish you all for your brutality. Incompetence cannot see the axe hanging above Princess Corin's head. And this sets Yotaka off as he goes, you go too far, priest. And even Negoro's like, the impudence. And you have Yotaka, Negoro, stand down. As Corin comes outside her battle regalia, you have Princess Corin. It's like, Priest Gobi, this is about to be a battlefield. Do you plan to fight alongside us? And he goes, Princess, return to Q Palace. His Majesty is in critical condition. I can't tell if a word you say is true. Or is that's, Well, I just had another realization. We'll talk about that at the end. And Corin's like, I can't tell if a word you say is true. And Gobi's like, I would never lie. End this madness and hurry back to His Majesty. It's like, the enemy will be here soon. I cannot abandon this place. You have Princess Corin. Since His Majesty fell ill a year ago, you have taken control of everything in his place. You're acting as if you're already queen. As Xing's priest, I've told His Majesty that Princess Tao has been chosen by God to be the successor to the throne. This man obviously very much wants a puppet. Your sister will bring love and peace to this nation. You and your father refuse to hear the voice of God. Your personal hatred is leading your people down the path to hell. She's like, I know. You want Tao to become queen because you believe she'd be easier to control than I will be. And Gobi's like, what are you? It's like, don't underestimate my little sister. She's far more stubborn and cautious than I. Tao distanced herself from you despite your advances, and is working independently with only a few people like Algira and Voldo. Why not ask your god why that is? See, Gobi's getting pissed off with this. He's like, what are you saying? Princess Tao is grateful to us. He's like, oh, Coca's army. Oh, sorry, it's Princess Tao going, oh, Coca's army still hasn't arrived. And you see that Gobi was not anticipating this news, as she goes, you're the ones who should return to the palace. I've already said my goodbyes to my father. Suwon, king of Coca, isn't as compassionate as ill. You should run away before your head is hurled into the palace gates. And you have, just as you fled to a remote island during the war 17 years ago. Huh, interesting. You see him and his disciples just glaring at her back as she walks back in. And Negoro's like, I don't much care for those people. They like to talk about peace and love, but they shed no blood and take no responsibility. All they do is try to take advantage of those in power. Jeff, Yotaka, what are you doing? Are you even listening? And you see Yotaka just applying some face cream. He's like, I'm applying beauty cream. This cream from Coca works well. And Negoro's like, how are you so carefree? It's like, carefree? It's like, I'm not as bad as Algira. It's like, if only Volda were here. He was the most sensible of you. So don't even mention that ungrateful fool. He's forgotten what Princess Corrin has done for him. Voldo and Algira adored Princess Tau long before we were divided by faction. They left before we could stop them. It's like I said, stop talking about them. And you see, the anti-war faction accuses Princess Corrin of leading her people down the path to destruction. It's like I refuse to believe that. Princess Corrin formed the Five Stars to fight against Coca. She's made battle plans with her generals. When she was only 10 years old, she held the severed head of one of her people in her arms. She glared at the nation of demons while the adults cowered in fear. She abandoned pursuing happiness for herself and spent the past 17 years fighting to ensure our victory. And you see baby Princess Corrin like hacking her hair off. Very much paralleling Yona in the earlier volumes. Yeah, but now the Five Stars are in shambles. There's no turning back at this point. And you hear Yotaka, you won't go anywhere, will you? And he goes, I have nowhere to go. That's probably true of Mizari too. Whatever the future holds, we will remain at her side. And you see Corrin talking to Tau going, I'm told that father is in critical condition. Do you believe Princess Yona will return? Tau's like, yes. It's like, you don't think Suwon is a demon, do you? It's like, when I learned that it was Suwon who killed Il, it only proved that he was truly Yuhan's son. It made me hate him all the more. But what I sensed from that princess wasn't hatred. It was the desire to save her friends. He was like, how is she able to live like that? And he thinks back to Mizari saying, no matter how many we send, they'll be cut down. That's what this war will be like, won't it? And she's like, I didn't choose this life, to wage that kind of war. But it's far too late to turn back. And Corrin goes, Tau, I'm releasing you. Go be with father. And she's like, sister? It's like, Princess Yona left over 10 days ago. I can't wait anymore. It's like, she's dead by now. It's like, please wait a little longer. I'm sure she's... It's like, Coca's soldiers will be storming the border soon. That man, Suwon, will be at the heart of it. I'll intercept him. I must take responsibility for starting this war. And Tao's like, sister, wait! In that case, please release the dragon warriors. They're still useful to me. Oh, sorry, that's Corrin saying they're still useful to me. He's like, but... He's like, take her away, Negro. He's like, sister! And you see a glint as something comes flying, and you hear, sister! And you see a, hey, Lord Huck. He's like, huh? You're heading back to Fuga, aren't you? It's like, why aren't you saying anything? Hasn't it been long enough? We'll make sure His Majesty can't find you. Huck's like, well... It's like, I hear hoofbeats approaching. It's like, is it the Sky Tribe army? And you see Algira coming, racing in with the horse. He goes, whoa! It's like, who's that? And Voldo's like, you're finally back, Algira. It's like, yeah, a lot happened. It's like, listen to this. Yona Kitty was amazing. And you see Yona's kind of like just gently sleeping on against Algira's back. And Hawk just kind of like gently takes her down. It's like, Your Highness, are you all right? He's like, Hawk. She wakes up and she's like face to face with him and she immediately blushes, pushes his head away. He's like, I'm fine. He's like, Lord Huck, is she rejecting you? And Yona's like, where's Princess Corrin? And Huck's like, she's at her mansion. I need to go. Yona's like, I need to go straight there. I met with Suwon. And Volo's like, and? It's like, he has some conditions, but he promised to hold a summit if Princess Corrin and Princess Tau both attend. It's like, that's a tremendous step forward. It's like, but if Princess Corrin doesn't accept, war will descend on this area. And Voldo's like, I understand. Let's go to her. It's like, Lord Huck. It's like, Teiyu, if the Sky Tribe army arrives, it's like, I know, we won't join the battle. It's like, you'll focus on defending the Wind Tribe. And he's like, huh? But it's like, you've already sapped the Shing army's will to fight. You've done more than enough. Oh, sorry, it's Huck saying that, I think. It's like, but Lord Huck. It's like, I've already left the Wind Tribe. Take care of it, General Teiyu. And you hear, you there, wait please. Eva, who are you? It's like, this is Priest Gobi of the anti-war faction. Yona's like, anti-war? Are you one of Princess Tau's allies? And Voldo's like, this is Princess Yona of Coca. She needs to speak urgently with Princess Corrin. And you have an, Princess Yona, is it? I've heard about you from Voldo. You're the one who saved Princess Tau. So my apologies, but I need to see Princess Corrin immediately. We can talk later. And Gobi's like, but Princess Corrin said she needed to rest before the battle. Tomorrow morning would be better. This asshole's trying to assassinate her. It's like, there's no time to delay. Coca's army's heading this way. It's like, what? It's like, tell me more. And Huck's like, hey, priest or whatever you are. Do you have a problem with us seeing Corrin? He's like, huh? What makes you think that? I merely... And Yona senses something, she just dashes off. And he's like, oh! He's like, wait! Oh. And you see as they're back at the palace, they see that her guards have all been cut down. He's like, her guards are down. He's like, get the door open! And you see Algira and Volda both Algira and Huck bashing the doors in. Yeah, where's Princess Corin? Ooh. And you see that that Negro standing in front of her with an arrow piercing him directly through the middle of his chest. Man, that is a fucking dark-ass chapter thing with her just surrounded by heads. So you have chapter 143, I Will Not Be Moved. Jeff, there was a girl carrying the head of one of her people as she walked. Oh, man. You see a flashback to, I think, when she finds Negro alive, she just kind of like hugs him in close. It's like she let out a sob of such relief. I'll never forget that sound. I'll devote my entire life to her, no matter how many times I might be wounded for it. You see them all staring in shock at the arrow that's pierced through Negro. You have Old Man Negro! It's like, what? It's like, Princess Yona! It's like, what's happening, Princess Tao? It's like, no, stay back! Someone's infiltrated this mansion! And you see a bunch of shadowy figures up on the rooftops. Jeff, Your Highness! As a hail of arrows comes down, and Huck moves in to intercept and shield Yona, as Algira does the same for Tao. And you see, as Yona opens her eyes again, she sees that Huck's been pierced in the shoulder and arm by the arrows. And she's like, Huck? Huck! He's like, just a scratch. She's like, Negro! Oh, man, fucking Boromir moment. As you see that he's been pierced with a bunch more arrows. He's like, are you hurt, Your Highness? And she's like, I'm fine. He's like, please, don't move away from me. Multiple enemies. They're aiming for you. And she's like, are they Suwan's assassins? And Yona's like, no, they're not. I came to tell you that he's promised to hold a summit instead of immediately resorting to war. And you see Corin's heart start to beat faster. And Tao's like, you really persuaded him? It's like, this girl was able to reason with Suwan? It's like, he's coming. That man's son. And she just like has a flashback to Yuhan. Like evil looking faces cutting down people. You're Yona, hand me your bow. She's like, huh? It's like, you can't shoot right now, can you? Pass it to me, hurry! And she tosses her quiver and bow over to Corin, who takes aim. And you see as she lets off, or as she's knocking the bow, Negro's getting in front of her. He's like, Negro's a kindness. My body is your shield. Use me however you must. I can do no more. Please make use of me. She's like, Negro. She's like, I will not be moved. I won't kneel to my enemies in my liege. I won't kneel to my enemies in my liege's sight. And she goes, we'll meet again in the afterlife. And you hear a sister as there's another hail of arrows coming down towards them. And you see that one of the arrows takes out one of the assassins, and one of them grazes Corin's shoulder as it flies by. The assassin's like, what is he? Oh, God. He's been shot full of arrows, but he won't go down. And you see Negro still standing tall as Corin just kind of like rests her head against him. He's like, Princess Corin! And you see, a couple of arrows flying out from behind her. Then we switch back to Ao going with the PQ. You have, what's the matter, Sinha? It's like, someone is coming this way. You have an and a what's going on? And you have more masked archers coming in with are you Mizari of the 5 stars? It's like, yes, I am. And you see one of them fires an arrow that takes him in the chest. And he falls back with the foot. And they're like, huh? And Yun calls out, Missouri! It's like, and them? It's like, they're just prisoners. Don't bother with them. We only need to kill 3 people. Negro, Yotaka, and Mizari. Negro and Yotaka are most likely with Princess Corin. You see Mizari just kind of laying there twitching. It's like, if so, the guys who went in first should have dealt with them along with her. This order comes from Peace Gobi. We've got to retrieve Princess Tao. And you hear Yun going, hold on a second! You killed Princess Corin? And you're going to take Princess Tao? What's the meaning of this? And they go, rejoice, you prisoners. Peace will come to this nation soon. With the death of the tyrannical Princess Corin, Princess Tao will likely take the throne, thanks to the efforts of the anti-war faction. And you see Mizori standing up and just banging on the cell bars going, Lady Korra would never be done in by the anti-war faction. Sir Negro and Sir Yotoko would never fall to the likes of you. It's like Koka's about to attack. There's no point fighting for the throne. And the assassin's like, he seems fine. It's like, everyone's gonna die, you fools. If you have this much spirit, go and take down as many enemy soldiers as you can on the battlefield. And they're like, kill him. And Gita's like, wait, he's already injured. You'd shoot him while he's behind bars? And you hear her, do it. And you hear her, stop! As Gita just lashes out with his dragon arm and crushes the bars of the gate. And they're all just standing there stunned with the, what? It's like, what's with that hand? It's like, is it possible? Are they the Koka monsters? And you see Gita just going and grabbing the Mizori cell door bars and just ripping it out. And he goes, get moving, go to your liege. And Mizori takes off with a dash. And like, oh, it's like, go after Mizori, capture the monsters. And you see all that effort is worn out. Gita, who foolishly kind of drops down. It's like, good grief, you're nowhere near recovered. And you see Sinha just stands in front of all the approaching assassins, and he pulls down his mask and just glares at them as they all fall with a thud one after the other. And Zeno's like, Blue Dragon, how's the paralysis feedback? He's like, my arm is slightly numb, but I can move my legs. I tried to hold back for Yona's sake, but I have a bad feeling. I can act now, can't I? Sinha's pissed. You have chapter 144, Anger. And you pick up back with the Princess Korrin. You have Princess Korrin! And you see Voldo rushing going, pardon me? As he moves her out of the way of the arrows. And she's like, Voldo! He's like, please stay down. As one of the other archers is knocking another arrow, Algira grabs a brick and throws it out with a, take that! It's like, are you alright, Princess Korrin? It's like, sister! It's like, Algira. It's like, Your Highness. It's like, I shall assist you. We need to get out of here. And she goes, you protect Tao. I'll accept no help from one of the anti-war faction. And Voldo goes, I may be part of that faction, but I am a citizen of Shing first. And it's like, Shing couldn't manage if anything befell you. It's like, and he goes, and I am one of the 5 stars. I shall be your shield in Negero's place. Please lead our nation alongside Princess Tao. And she just sighs and goes, lead with Tao, Some of my people are pointing their blades at me. Some of my people are pointing their blades at me right now. If this isn't Suwon's doing, Priest Gobi is probably behind it. And Voldo's like, impossible! It's like, Priest Gobi values peace too highly. He'd never do something so underhanded. This is making me more certain of a theory, but we'll get to that at the end. It's like, you may be too pure-hearted to grasp it, but look, Tao hasn't been targeted at all. And then Tao's like, in that case, I'll go reason with him. She goes, you play into his hands. He'll be free to attack others. It's like, no. This battle may have already been decided. There's nothing I can do here, let alone wage a war. And Yona's like, I can't let you die either. Anyway, let's focus on surviving for now. Priest Gobi is at the camp. She's like, Gobi. Hang on. We can't leave without answering one more question. Where are the dragon warriors in Yun? Korrin's like, there. You hear a, get down, as more arrows come flying down. Yun, they're still out there. It's too dangerous here. We'll have to come back for the others. And as Huck's swaying around, Yona's like, Huck, stop moving around. So you don't look so good. We should find a hiding spot instead. So you can't be serious. This is no time to rest or die. It's like, listen, don't leave my side anymore. It's pretty rough on me. And you hear, on my signal, outside. You see Algira just kicking a statue and sending pieces of concrete flying. Java, now run! As they all take off. My God, and you see that Negro has basically died standing up, and Zemira is just dashing towards him. He goes, Sir Negro! It's like, Sir Negro? It's like, what are you doing here? Where's Princess Korrin? It's like, hey. Apparently he's still not dead. Alright, that scene I will say legitimately gave me chills. You see him grabbing Zemira's hand and tossing it behind him as another arrow comes flying in and takes it through the throat, and that finally topples him over down. He's like, Sir Negro! And you can see that Zemira is just slowly starting to lose it as one of the arrows pierces his cheek. You have a speedy, aren't you? Give up. Resisting won't help. And he goes, Sir Negro, I'll eliminate them. That's okay, right? You were always cross with me. But I'm being useful now, aren't I? Watch how the youngest of the 5 stars handles this. And he grabs one of the arrowheads and takes off with a leap. And he just dodges around all the arrows being shot at him. Again, I feel like Uzanagi-san could do a really good horror manga. And you see him just grabbing the assassin's face, smashing him into the ground, and just slowly driving the arrowhead towards his eye, as the assassin's screaming out, "No." And you see more blood dripping from his chest wound as he goes, "Princess Korin, I'm on my way." And you see Yona and the others dashing through the town, and you hear a "Get down!" as more arrows come flying towards them. You have curses. If they weren't on the roof, I'd clobber them. And Huck's like, I've never envied Droopy Eyes' abilities before now. And you see Korin just badass grabbing one of the arrows, firing it back at one of the assassins. And you see Volo cutting down some of the arrows flying towards them. And Yona spots a little table nearby that she kicks with her leg to prop up like a little shield to catch the arrows. As Korin's like, I see you've had an interesting education. It's like, I could say the same. And you see Hako, and that was Droopy Eyes' influence. And you have we're almost at the camp, let's hurry. And Korin's like, I believed I would die in battle. I'm sure Negoro wished he could have. That's why I cannot die here. Even if I'm destined to die, I reject that fate. Even if I'm mud-crusted and unsightly. Even if the light of hope doesn't reach me. And you see, something's like flickering behind, glinting behind the assassins. And a bunch of throwing knives come out of the sky and take them all down. You see a thump as Jeha lands in front of them with a, hey, sorry for the wait. And Yona's like, Jeha, how? It's like, being a captive prince was dull, so I decided to get you to see that he's still not recovered, as he slowly sways and collapses as well. He's like, Eep, Jeha! And Korin's like, where did this man come from? It's like, and the others? Huck's like, you're heavy. He's like, they'll be along. It's like, is this a dragon warrior's power? And you hear a scream as you see Sinha slowly making his way down with this large dragon aura like looming above him menacingly. Ah, love it. And you have the assassins going, what are these freaks? It's like, monsters! And you see Sinha dodges out of the way with the arrows and glares at them. Again, sick-ass panels like this dragon just like goes and like takes a bite out of his head. And you see the assassin screaming, my head, as he tumbles down. Apologies, but I really can't scream right now. And you see a what? And you see another assassin being taken down by it. And Korin's like, an evil spirit! And Yona's like, wait! It's Sinha. And he's like, Yona? And she rushes towards him as Korin goes, these are the 4 legendary dragons of Koka? Their powers are almost godlike. That girl has such power at her command? You have chapter 145, what is correct? You have Sinha! It's like, Sinha! And he slumps over as Yona grabs him. It's like, it's the paralysis feedback. He's like, my body feels heavy, but I'm fine. I can still move my legs. I can't feel Ao eating my hair. Then you see Ao just on top of him, just like munching on his hair. You have Sinha! It's like, you got so far ahead of us. And you see Yun and the others coming up. And Yona's like, Yun, Gija, Zeno! It's like, I'm glad you're safe. He's like, I'm fine, but you don't look so good. He's like, but cute, don't eat Sinha's hair. And Yun's like, they're too far from Hiryu Palace to heal quickly. It's like, Zeno will carry Blue Dragon next. He's like, come on. He's like, but I'm heavy. It's like, all good or not. It's all good or not. It's like, it's too much for Zeno's whole body. He's like, It's like, what, collapsing. It's like, whoa, Sinha kitty, Zeno kitty, Pukyu kitty. You have it's so much nicer leaning on Huck. And he's like, hey, Huck. He's like, you're bleeding. And Jeha's like, whoa. He's like, Yun, we need you. He's like, you're all bloody too. And Yun's like, you stupid thunder beast. Why do you keep getting stuck full of arrows? Are you into that? Are you a weirdo? And he's like, oh, I clearly like the pain. He's like, stop fussing and help someone else. He's like, obviously I don't. He's like, you're the worst off right now. And Jeha's like, we're all in pretty rough shape, And you hear, hey, did you see that? It's like, yeah, that man's not human. He seemed like a dragon or something. Are those the monsters of Koka? Well, we'll report this to Priest Gobi. And you have an, like, sister, as, you see that Korin's, arrow wounds start like bugger now. And Yun's like, they got you in the arm? Let me see. He's like, no need, it's not serious. And he's like, let me judge that. Don't take arrow wounds lightly. And she's like, I'm from an enemy nation and I held you prisoner. Why help me? And he's like, why? It's like, I guess I don't want war or violence to change me. There are no allies or enemies when it comes to patching people up. And you have the power of the dragon warriors. It's practically divine. With that much power, couldn't you take your revenge on Suwon? And Yona goes, they aren't tools to satisfy my personal grudges. And she's like, so you do have a personal grudge? And she's like, I'm not sure. So I told myself that I couldn't let go of the hairpin Suwon gave me because I needed to always remember what happened that night. But the truth is probably that somewhere in my heart, I still want to believe in him. It's like, Suwon, it's like, but now I've let the hairpin go. It's like, I really don't know. She's like, I can't easily forgive him for what he did, but I don't want to live my life focused only on that. And you said, Koran goes, you said Suwon wants to hold a summit? It's like, yes. He wants to discuss things with you and Princess Tao. There are some other conditions, but if Xing accepts them, there probably won't be any bloodshed between our countries. It's like, I know it's a tough decision, but I can say for certain that if Suwon wanted to enslave your people like Uncle Yuhan, he would never make such a promise. I don't think he'd waste his time like that. She's like, I see. You still believe in him, do you? And she's like, in that respect, yes. And I think this is Huck going, I think so too. Suwon would never waste his time that way. I don't know why Her Highness let go of that hairpin, but what I do know is that she won't avert her eyes anymore. It's not out of fear or hatred. She's facing him head on. He's like, will I be able to do that? Will I be able to keep my calm in front of him? And Korra's like, a summit with Suwon, that man's son. Thinks back to Negro telling her, Princess Korin, I'm sure you will get your revenge on that kingdom of Koka if you gather the 5 stars and lead your troops. I believe our nation will be chosen by the heavens. I will never forget that despair and humiliation. She's like, Negro. You have it there. It's just basic first aid, though. Get it treated properly later. Yona's like, we're not under attack now. Let's go. And Koran's like, my father, I myself, Negro, the people who knew that war lived their lives hoping to strike back against Koka. But it's like, I must apologize to you all. Capturing you and holding you hostage was wrong. And you see how she's trying to stand up. She's like slumping over. And Tao's like, sister, it's like, I'll support you. It's like Tao and Vol's like, let me. It's like, no, I'll do it. This way they can't do anything to her. And she's like, I kept my distance from Priest Gobi, but I never imagined he'd do what he did to Negoro. I feel like hatred could start building up in me. We have to stop him. And Yun's like, sorry, do you have a moment? Have you seen Mazari? And Algira's like, Mazari? He hasn't come this way. It's like he ran out of the prison ahead of us, but he'd been shot with an arrow. Koran's like, Mazari? And Jeha's like, we still don't have a handle on the situation. Wasn't the anti-war faction allied with Tao? There were a ton of dead guards at the mansion. We came here following some people wearing black. Voldo's like, there have been many problems. It's like, Mizari was targeted. Yotaka's probably at the camp. It's like, Mizari, Yotaka, don't you die. And you see back with Yotaka, he's like, what's going on? I can't shake this lingering sense of unease. Could it just be pre-battle anxiety? And he goes, General Namsek, how are the soldiers? He's like, no issues to speak of. Jeva, why such a look? You're supposed to be one of the 5 stars. Are you scared before battle? That'll lower our soldiers' morale. Yotaka's like, afraid? No. I know that morale is low, but there's more going on. He's like, I suppose the general and I can't work well together. Yeah, the 5 stars are a group of elites favored by Korin. They stand apart from the armed forces and are widely envied. And here, Master Yotaka, please come with me. It's Priest Gobi of the anti-war faction. And you have, is that him? And you see some people kneeling and praying before him. It's like, yes. It's like he seems to be holding an assembly with some citizens. And Yotaka's like, that blasted man, taking advantage of the weak-minded. You have good priest. I've heard the Koka army is approaching. Does Princess Korin really wish to drag us with her to our deaths? It's like, tragically, it appears so. Princess Korin plans to take her revenge, even if she must use her people as shields. You have terrible. What should we do? It's like, remain calm. Princess Tao, child of our god, is sure to lead us to peace. It's like, Yotaka goes, it's true enough that Princess Tao won't wage war, But what will become of Shing if we follow her? Remember what Koka did to us 17 years ago. I can't believe he'd sell out our nation to take down Princess Corrin. Like, he's apparently had a message from God. If King Suon and Princess Tao were to wed, it would bring peace to both our nations. It's like, I see. Oh, I see, that's what his plan is. He plans to become Chancellor or something. It's like, but the 5 stars still protect our nation. It's like, the 5 stars? Them protect you? Oh, God. They're nothing but sinners who lust for blood. The heavens will punish them. They are to blame for starting this war. And Yotaka's like, now he's gone too far. And you see on the next page, with the Shook, the soldier that lured him out there, stabs him in the back. And he's like, what? He's like, this is divine retribution, Master Yotaka. He's like, who are you? He's like, an ordinary soldier who opposes war. It's like, you think you'll get away with... It's like, Master Mizori attacked a friend of mine. He'll never walk normally again. All he can rely on is the voice of God. It's like, we don't want to die for nothing. None of us. Priest Gobi said that if we deliver your heads, Koka's king will stop this war. And you hear Yotaka going, I am to blame for not stopping Mizori. I apologize profusely for that. But if you're Princess Corrin's enemy, then, as one of the 5 stars, I won't hesitate, no matter who you are. And you hear, what do you plan to do in that condition with no weapons? You see Gobi flanked by some of his flunkies. He's like, Gobi, it was a trap. It's like, don't try to resist. The pro-war faction has no hope of winning now. It's like, and why is that? It's like, of the 5 stars belonging to that faction, only you remain. He's like, what did you do to Negoro and Mizori? It's like, Negoro meant a fitting end for the leader of the 5 stars. And he screams out, you filth. And you hear what seems like a blast of some kind. So I assume he got stabbed or hit again. And you see, hey, Lord Teiyu. It's like General Teiyu. It's like young chief, little master, teeny tiny master. And he just smacks Young Dae in the face like, stop sitting in silence. It's like, did Lord Huck say anything to you? It's like, where did he go? It's like, no idea. It's like, Teiyu. It's like, you see Spectral Huck telling him, I've already left the Wind Tribe, take care of it. He goes, Lord Huck, are you really not coming back to us? Yeah, focus on defending the Wind Tribe. It's like, I said I'd protect you too. It's like, if there's a battle when the Sky Tribe army arrives, must I lead the Wind Tribe into combat? Will I have to take on the soldiers from Shing? It's like, what if Lord Huck becomes my enemy? As chief, what is the right thing for me to do? It's like, I just don't know. It's like, and you see what's going on there. And you see his Gobi stand off with Yotaka. It's like, that guy was arguing with Lord Huck's friend Voldo earlier. It's like, where? And you see here, where is Princess Corrin? And Gobi's like, it will be daybreak soon. You 5 stars and her highness will be gone, and a joyous day will dawn. It's like, what have you done to her highness? And you hear a kill him. And you see a thunk as Teiyu just throws his glaive into the ground. He's like, some of Shing's major players have gathered to discuss shady plans before battle. And you hear, who's there? He's like, I'm Teiyu of Koka's Wind Tribe. Care to fill me in? As you have chapter 146, justice is a convenient excuse. And you see Teiyu just hopping over the little fence barricade. And he goes, sorry, hold on. As he goes and grabs his glaive out. Like, stop, you little... And Gobi's like, hold. Don't cause trouble with people from Koka. We need to get along with King Suon. And he goes, boy from Koka, it's not a good idea for you or your weapon to cross our border. It's like, this isn't a playground. Even if you're still a child, you could cause misunderstandings. Like, sorry about that. It's like, I'm only a year younger than Lord Huck. It's like, he looks much older, though. It's like, however, I threw my spear because this looks like an assassination. This man is an associate of someone named Voldo, one of Lord Huck's friends. And you see Teiyu or Yotaka kind of slumping over from his wound. He's like, hey, are you okay? And one of the goons is like, we might be forced to kill him. I doubt anyone's paying attention to small fry like him. It's like, huh. And Yotaka's like, I have nothing to do with Voldo. It's like, you're this badly hurt and that's all you have to say? That guy's not well liked, is he? And here's a shink as weapons are drawn. And Teiyu goes, you folks are with the anti-war faction, aren't you? You're nothing like that Voldo guy. Lord Huck told me what he could about the situation. Seems weird that it's members of the anti-war faction who are more likely to stab people. Like the pro-war soldiers are more hesitant and less likely to kill. It's like, we don't need him raising a fuss. Take him down quickly. And you see more of the wind tribe showing up with a, hey, General Teiyu, what are you doing there? And you hear a general. It's like, he's a... And Teiyu's getting like, he's like, got a problem with that. You have a, hey, hold on now. Who the heck are you? What do you want with our chief? If you try anything, I'll bury you with the radishes. And Teiyu's like, hey, cool it. Hyungdae, go get Ayame. Nobu, come help me carry this guy. It's like, is he injured? And Gobi's like, who said you could? It's like, wait. It's like, a general? That changes things. Killing him would bring trouble down on us. It's like, but Yotaka will get away. It's like, he's severely wounded at least. What's the situation with Korin? It's like, Priest Gobi, I have a report. It's like, what? The monsters of Koka have gotten out? And you see Gobi and his faction retreating. So Yotaka's like, wait! It's like, stop moving. Are you trying to die? It's like, release me. Her Highness is... It's like, absolutely not. Lord Huck and Princess Yona are with Princess Korin. The Thunder Beast of Koka is better protection than 1,000 soldiers. It's like, I saved you because you're Vola's associate, so don't die. He's still trying to be like, I don't know anyone named Voldo. It's like, you renounced Voldo before he passed out. It's like, right, let's carry him. It's like, there's something bad happening here in Shing. And you see, Master Yotaka's gone missing? Why? It's like, the Koka army will be approaching soon. It's like, I also heard that Master Negro and Princess Korin are no longer at their mansion. Do you have a what? Right before the battle? Are you saying... It's like, they ran away. It's like, Priest? It's like, despite her optimism, even Princess Korin has realized that she's no match for Koka's military might. She's gone into hiding somewhere. It's like, no, she... It's like, ever since that incident with Mizari, I've started having doubts that Princess Korin's fit to be a queen. It's like, how dare you? Saying such things is beyond disrespectful. It's like, but she chose someone like that to be one of the 5 stars. And the general pulls out his sword. It's like, I won't allow you to further insult her highness. You have General Namsek. It's like, please calm down. Princess Korin supporters always resort to violence. Their only goal is bloodshed. It's like, you wretched. And he cuts him down with an, no, stop! Stop the general! It's like, sir, let me assist you. How barbaric. My friends, let us search for the craven Princess Korin. She might be in hiding and holding the innocent Princess Tao prisoner. Your General Namsek, save your anger for battle! It's like, look at that. Those of you with the grudge against Mizari, and of course, he's nowhere to be seen. Mizari. It's like, and what's more, those monsters of Koka are under Princess Korin's control. Let's go calm Koka's fury. If you have a change of heart, I'm sure God will save you. And you see Huck. It's like, are you okay? He's like, huh? Just dozed a little. And Yona's like, let me give you a piggyback ride. He's like, I'd squash you. He's like, it's fine. I've gotten much stronger than I look. It's like, if you say so. He just gets on her. She just falls face flat with a gah and a smoosh. Like, stop being stupid. Let's go. And Huck's like, I was too heavy for droopy eyes. Obviously, you can't carry me. And Huck goes, Princess, once this is all over, we have to talk. She's like, huh? Okay. Is he gonna confess? He's gonna confess. And you see Zeno's helping out Sinha's like, Zeno? It's like, what an ominous atmosphere. It's too similar to when the defeated soldiers swarmed into Kin province in the Kai Empire. The anxiety and hatred of countless people, a palpable darkness. I see the camp. Let's look for Yotaka. And you see back at the camp, Priest, Gobi's, Goonies and the soldiers are all kind of making a barricade and just glaring at them. Huck's like, what's that? And you see a PQ as someone flings a noose around Sinha's neck. He's like, Blue Dragon! It's like, I'm still half paralyzed. And you see one of the soldiers dragging him back with a, yes, we caught him! A monster of Koka! You're a Sinha! It's like, Blue Dragon! And you see more nooses flying out to snag the other dragons. He's like, the monsters of Koka, huh? A pale arm scaled like a beast. Gija's like, I don't have any energy. And he's like, what are you doing? It's like, what's going on? It's like, now, don't treat them too roughly. And Gobi's like, monsters or not, they belong to Koka. And Korin's like, Gobi. It's like, why Princess Korin? I didn't expect you to grace us with your presence. It's like, you captured Princess Tao. You used Mizar to control your people through fear. Our nation is in shambles. Look into your people's eyes. This is what's come of your atrocities. And you see that all their people are kind of just glaring at her distrustfully and disdainfully. And Korin goes, the dragon warriors have nothing to do with this. Release them. It's like, nothing to do with this? Then why did you capture them? You used the power of these monsters. You held them hostage. Were you planning to use them against Koka? And you see one of them going, I saw it. Master Yotaka captured these monsters. It's like, see? You were trying to control them by force, as we've come to expect from you. It's like, Priest Gobi, you've been using force too. He's like, Princess Tao, I'm glad you're safe. We've done all we could to protect you. And Koron's like, where is Yotaka? It's like, Yotaka? Who knows? We've been searching for him fruitlessly. After all, both Negro and Mizari have disappeared, I hear. I suppose they lost their nerve before battle. Koron goes, silence. My subordinates risk their lives in battle. If you denigrate them any further, you'll pay for it when I take your head. And she notches an arrow at them. And you see his goons responding in kind. And Huck just takes out his glaive. It's like, went all out and hired mercenaries, did you? And you hear a wait! Both sides, lower your weapons! And you see arrows flying towards her. As you hear, Your Highness! And you see all the arrow dragons just glaring. And you see this ominous energy just radiating off of them. Oh, what the hell? Oh, that's a sick-ass panel. I will say that's sick. And you see, like, the shadows of all these dragons just, like, curling around Yona. And it looks like they blocked or just intercepted the arrows. And you see, what? It's like, so these are the legendary dragon warriors of Koka. And you have a bonus chapter of Take Care Part 2. Looks like it's Huck has a cold. I'm not going to read through this. I want to see what happens. They're all trying to make him feel better. And Zeno decides to push him down to a laugh pillow on Yona's lap. And then yada yada. They're like, okay, you can leave us alone. And Yona's like, aren't you glad we're with family? Yada yada yada. Oh yeah, and then he takes one of the medicine that made them go rampagey last volume or the one before that. But yeah, none of that's important. Alright, so a couple of quick thoughts on some things that have been bugging me a little bit with this volume. First, I think the theory. So it's been so long since I've read some of the earlier volumes, I can't remember if this is either something I've picked up through osmosis of like something that happens later, of something we get confirmation on later, or something we learned about earlier. But I feel like at some point someone accused Il of having Yuhan commit atrocities in his name so that Il could kind of keep up this facade of being like, the peaceful pacifist king, while his brother kind of like took all the atrocities and things on himself so that, all the anger and like resentment could be directed at him. So I don't remember if that was a thing that was confirmed or if that's just like me misremembering something or what. But reading this chapter, that's one of the first thoughts I had, especially with the whole idea like, Gobi's like, pretending to be like the peaceful one while he's actually trying to, not so secretively take power from behind the throne. But it makes me wonder if, apart from the reason of Suwon being like, I understand like Koron's thought process because I felt the same way, etc., whatever. But the last volume, I think I thought that was because, he's like, I understand her thought process. I know she won't give up on revenge so easily, blah, blah, blah. But now I wonder if it's because he's trying to withhold the truth about who really ordered the massacre that killed all those people. And because he doesn't want to tarnish King Il's memory or tarnish Yona's memory of what kind of person her father was. I wonder if that's why he's so adamant on, not finding a peaceful resolution to this and why he's like advocating for war so heavily. We'll see what that ends up being true or not in the next couple of volumes. I just kind of wanted to toss it out there. With regards to the other stuff, like I still like this arc, but I feel like the fact we haven't really gotten full explanations with regards to the actual conflict 17 years ago and some other stuff, like it feels like some of the plot points and characterizations in this volume lean more heavily towards conveniences more so than like, actual like well thought out things, because everyone, like all the citizens are like, we don't want to go to war, blah, blah, blah. It's Princess Koron is kind of going for revenge. Like there's a whole plot set up of like, Gobi's trying to manipulate people by trying to make them think that, Princess Corrin is doing this for her own selfish desire to get revenge, all that, blah, blah, blah. Even though the ordinary citizens don't want it, all that stuff. But I think the question is, we know that whatever this conflict was happened 17 years ago. And I feel like the story's playing kind of loosey-goosey with who exactly was, like, which people were involved in that conflict specifically, and how many people know about that conflict. Because I feel like, given the nature of the atrocities that occurred and how strongly ingrained it is between the 5 stars and everyone else, I feel like the fact that the citizens aren't as worked up about it, or as worked up about it, feels a little bit off. So I don't know if it's a case of whether they know the history and are like, oh, I don't want to be one of those people that got sent out to die or got killed, whatever. Or they want to be like, casualties of war, whatever. Or if the insinuation is that, a bunch of the older people got killed and the younger ones that are being conscripted to fight in this battle were not alive, or to have like shadier memories of this war. Like, I feel like there hasn't really been a lot of concrete explanation with regards to that specifically. And I feel like that's been used to kind of justify, the citizens all going to Gobi's side so that they can all turn against the princess. Because again, we've got like the way, like, she's obviously, like, Princess Corrin is like obviously very reserved. Like, she doesn't really put herself out there. And I feel like, of course she stamped down her emotions. She's like, oh, I can't express myself or else, people think I'm too emotional, whatever. I have to seem like I'm calm, cool-headed, rational, all that kind of stuff. And it feels like, that's kind of led to her being isolated from her people, or feeling like, isolated from her people. They don't really know her, which is making it easier for Gobi to kind of like drive a wedge between them. But I feel like none of these volumes haven't really given it that much characterization. You haven't given it the characterization or development that it needs for it to really land properly. Which is why I feel like, a lot of, especially with Mizari, especially, the fact that he's just kind of, psychopathic, psychopathic a word? The fact that he's basically psychopathic, also being like, used to drive like a wedge between them, again, feels more like a thing that's been introduced for plot convenience, more so than like an actual discernible, multifaceted character or character trait. But yeah, just like this volume just kind of drove that home for me. Like, it feel like having a more concrete explanation for the history of this war and the people's relation to that history would make it more solid than it was. But yeah, it just feels like there's something missing, if that makes sense. We'll see what happens with regards to that in the next volume. Because apart from that, I still am enjoying this vastly more than I was the previous Water Tribe stuff. But again, that's kind of been a sticking point for me. Depending on how it pans out, I might do like a review or a mini video with regards to that or something, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, we'll get to another volume of Yona today as well. So we'll see if my thoughts change or if I kind of double down on this. We'll see what happens with that. As always, I hope you enjoyed these videos. If any of you has a different take, or if you notice that I missed something with regards to this conflict that might clarify things, you can let me know in the comments below. I'd kind of appreciate that as well. Apart from that, like I mentioned at the beginning, if you do like my content, please do consider like, commenting, subscribing, all that good stuff, because it really helps promote my content with YouTube's algorithm, and especially this year since I'm trying to grow the channel. Any help with that would be greatly appreciated. Like I also mentioned, the Shonen Jump chapters stuff should be out today as well. I finished recording Kaiju yesterday. That hit the channel yesterday. Today, Akane and Spy Family will be out with Yona, so look forward to that. And until next time, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.